Hello healers and health seekers, it's me, Ichoda, healing with medical medium information for 3 years now. If you want to know what I'm healing from, links are in the description box below, and I just did a 3-part video series on what symptoms I've healed, so you can even watch those videos. I had to do it in 3 parts because there were so many symptoms. But today, I am here to do a What's Up Wednesday video, and that is when I come here, I talk to you about my healing journey, and there's a little bit to tell this week. I am on month 2 of fully raw with no overt fat and no salt. So I'm doing raw for July, and so far so good. I'm still raw. I haven't had any fat. I haven't had any salt. I haven't had any steamed potatoes or this amazing teriyaki cauliflower dish that I make for my son. I haven't eaten any of that stuff. I haven't eaten the medical medium queso dip that I make for my son all the time. And I call that a win. I'm so proud of myself for that. And as if you watch my videos, you know we have been in this RV for a couple of months now, because what happened was we were going to move to Colorado, and on the way to Colorado we stopped to visit our families. They both live in the same general area, and when we visited our families we just felt pulled to stay here, and so all of our plans changed, derailed. I had not done any planning for staying here. All my planning was for staying in Colorado, so we had to sort of do a 90-degree turn, and everything changed. And so my husband's been looking for a job, and he's gotten several opportunities, and he picked one. So he's now in the process of doing paperwork and background checks and stuff for that job, but basically he's got a job. He starts on the 22nd, so that is when we will be moving the RV to that area again. Now, the RV park we're in now, I am madly in love with. It is beautiful. So it's just this big, expansive space at a resort that has also cabins, and they do events here, and then they just have all this land. There's horses, there's cows, and then there's just space, just grassy space and hills and trees and forested areas. And so they took part of it and they decided to make it an RV park, so that when they have events, if people want to stay in their RVs, they can stay in their RVs. But in the meanwhile, people who are currently, the RV park is completely full, and it's because there's seasonal workers here, and I think we're like the only people that aren't seasonal workers. There's people who are working on pipeline, and then there's the nurses who work at the hospital. Anyway, the grounds are beautiful. There's 3 lakes stocked with fish if people like to go fishing, and that also means like the fish eat the mosquito larvae, but also the dragonflies and the crane flies eat the mosquito larvae. They don't spray here. And there's bunches of frogs, and there's bunches of birds, and it's amazing. Yesterday I found this patch of these gorgeous flowers. They're in the mint family, and I can't remember their name, darn it, but I did find it out and I posted it on Instagram. It's a big patch of flowers that the bumblebees love, and I love bumblebees. So I have been getting up every morning, except this morning because I don't want to make a video, but I've been getting up every morning and going out there while I drink my lemon water and watching the bumblebees. And yesterday I saw a hummingbird moth. Oh, they're so beautiful. They have clear wings, and the coloring can be different. It can be a lot like a colorful hummingbird, but this one, the coloring was like the bumblebees, so it just blended in with the bumblebees. But it's just slightly longer than a bumblebee and a little bit narrower, because bumblebees have those big round fuzzy butts. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what a secret treat. I have never in person seen a hummingbird moth before, and I always wanted to see one because I'd heard about them, and I thought, oh my gosh, these must be amazing. And when I read about the flowers, when I looked up the flowers and found out what they were, it said that also hummingbird moths are common pollinators to those flowers. But never seen one ever before. This ecosystem is so special. There's hawks. I'm pretty sure there must be owls. There's foxes. There's all kinds of birds. I couldn't even possibly begin to name all kinds of birds that I've seen. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Hummingbird moths. And the fireflies here. Okay, obviously I love this RV park. It's so beautiful. It's untouched, unspoiled nature, except for just this little part where the RV park is, and there's RVs. It's just a little slice of heaven. Conversely, the RV park, which we have stayed in before, that's nearer to our families, it's concrete and asphalt, and there's a train trestle. Now the sites are more level, so that's nice, but because these sites are gravel, and then it's been raining a lot, so the RV keeps sinking down into the gravel. Small price to pay for all this nature. I don't even care. I'm gonna miss it so much, you guys. I'm gonna miss it so much. Anyway, I'm hoping we get a house that's in this kind of nature so I can just have it again. There is like a nature trail across the street from the RV park, but the RV park is just in this like industrial, loud, noisy area that I don't love. But in order for my husband to start working and being able to commute to that job, we've got to be there while we look for housing. So that has to happen. Anyway, so that's our situation. Some stress relieved, obviously, with the job. That's great. We're going to have income coming in again, which is nice. We don't have to use our savings anymore. So whew, that's good. And so also now we know where to look for housing, because we want it to be within like a half hour of where my husband's going to be working. Obviously, we want it to be a comfortable commute for him. So now we have like a target area to look in. I have asked the angels to please bring that in. So I'm staying raw. Right now, as you can see, I have some things going on with my skin. I'll talk about little symptoms I've had. I remember the format I used to do these videos. So a lot of detox, obviously, because of the raw. A lot stuff has been coming out of me lately, and this is maybe part of that. But also, oh my gosh, so last night, so sometimes this stuff on my chin itches, and honestly that hasn't happened in a really long time. But last night, as I was sleeplessly trying to go to bed, thank you Mercury retrograde, it just, oh my god, the itching flared up so bad. It fully woke me up. I had to get up for a minute just to change the venue of where I was, because the itching was driving me so crazy that I couldn't sleep, and it was getting to my brain, and gosh, that nothing like that's happened in a while. So it was really weird. I have been more regular about taking my supplements lately and taking my tinctures every day, and that is a good thing. And I have done a little experiment. For a while I wasn't taking Cat's Claw, and I thought, well, I really like how Cat's Claw is so antiviral. Let me go back to taking Cat's Claw again. And I think maybe Cat's Claw right now, while I'm raw, is a little bit too much, because I don't think my poor lymphatic system can handle all those dead viral corpses, because this is what happens when I start taking Cat's Claw again. And I'm not entirely sure, I'm not 100% sure it's because of the Cat's Claw. I guess it's possible that it could be that I've been putting a tiny bit of coconut aminos in my food. I'm not sure what else it could be. So it maybe is one of those two things, but it did seem to really ramp up when I added that Cat's Claw back in. So I think I'm going to take the Cat's Claw out again and see if this calms down a bit. I think maybe it just might be a little too much for me right now. Another thing that's been happening, so when I eat raw, and the more raw I eat, the earlier I want to go to bed. Like the sunset right now is at 8:30. I found an app that gives me an alarm when the sun is setting, which is great, so that I can go outside and do the Sunset Trust meditation that's in Medical Medium Book 1. And so every night I've been trying to do that. The problem is every night right before sunset, my eyes get so heavy and I'm ready for bed. Like, I'm ready to go to sleep, because sunset is not until 8:30 where I am. And 8:30 is almost past my bedtime. So I have to kind of make myself stay awake to watch the sunset, to do the sunset trust meditation. But I mean, I'm always glad that I did. Like, what I do with that meditation is I go out there, I take off my shoes, I put my feet in the grass, I watch the sunset, which takes about a half an hour to fully go down. And then I watch everything else kind of around in that area, because where the sun's setting is the wildflower field, and then you can see all the fireflies. It's so neat how as the sun begins to set, all the little firefly butts turn on and they just start glowing, and it's so beautiful. And I'm like, oh, nature is so amazing. It just makes me appreciate everything. And if you're familiar with the sunset trust meditation, medical medium says watching the sun go down is a little bit like saying goodbye to a friend. So there is a little bit of sadness, and I feel that pretty much every time I say goodnight to the sun. I also say a prayer to the earth, and I pray to God to help humans wake up and begin really taking care of the earth. And that's also a little bit sad for me when I say that, because I apologize to the earth, and sometimes it makes me cry. But it's very powerful for me, and I want to do it every night, but the sunset gets later, but my bedtime seems to get earlier. And last night, it was like 5:30, and I could not keep my eyes open. And I'm like, no, I have to stay up to watch. I was like, I can't go to bed at 5:30. What time am I going to get up? At like 2 in the morning or something? I'm like, no, I have to stay up. And I didn't want to take a nap because I knew that would push my bedtime back later, and I didn't want to do all that. But that's exactly what happened. I could not keep my eyes open. So I just gave up, and I took a little nap. But it was more than a little nap. So then I woke up, and then I was up till like 11, and I did miss the sunset. And anyway, it just messed up my whole schedule. I'm still up before at my whole family. I don't know how that works. But it's also, yesterday was the first day of Mercury retrograde, and I'm feeling that. I've been feeling that energy since the Mercury retrograde shadow. I've been feeling all that energy, and the struggle is real, y'all. That's all I know what to say about that. Is just sometimes you just feel like the heaviness of that energy. And for me, it's like I need to be conscious and aware of what energy we're in right now, because then it can help me understand my own actions and reactions better, more the reactions, because I do get very reactive, and there's so much miscommunication, and I see it, and I've already experienced it, because there's like the shadow of the retrograde, which is the few weeks before the retrograde, where you can also sort of, if you're really sensitive, feel that energy. And I was feeling that, and it's almost like, okay, don't talk to anybody at all or interact with social media or anything, because everything's going to trigger me right now. So other symptoms that have been happening is I've had this really sharp pain. This only happened for one day. It's gone now. It's just was this one day where I had these really sharp sort of pinpoint, not even pinpoint. It's like if somebody was burning me with a cigarette, but didn't hurt that much. It just was like a itchy burning. It was just kind of off and on throughout the day, just random points. Not very on, more off than on, but just, it was weird. And then one time that same day, I had a shooting pain like I used to get in my right breast. So the pain was in my left hip. I had only one shooting, stabbing, pinpoint pain in my right breast. It hasn't happened again. I don't know what that was about. That was very bizarre. I blame the Mercury retrograde. I'm blaming it for everything. And then sometimes if I'm too tired, it's like I don't want to prepare food, so I'm not eating enough. And that's frustrating. I need to eat enough. Obviously, I need to support my adrenals. I need to eat enough. I need to not be too tired to make food. I mean, how too tired to make a smoothie? A smoothie is so easy to throw together, at least for me now. It wasn't always. Obviously, when I was the height of my chronic illness, I couldn't just throw together a smoothie, but come on. Come on, Ichota. And come on, energy and whatever it is that's making me all sluggish and like this. Okay. An ongoing symptom that I do have because of my concussion is short-term memory loss. Somebody can tell me something in the same conversation. I will ask them the same question a few minutes later, or I will repeat something that I said, and then I will realize something will trigger in my brain, and I'll go, oh, I'm sorry, I probably just said this to you, didn't I? And that's been happening with a little more frequency lately. I guess I would call that a little more brain fog. As is evidenced right now by my not remembering the other brain foggy symptom, which I do remember now, is it's the thinking on my feet one. It's the one, it's just sort of not being able to access the information that I know is there in my databases, in my brain. Like, I know I have this information in my memory. I know that I know these things. I don't know, but I don't know where they are. I don't know how to get to them. And so sort of not being able to think on my feet, not having that recall, just being a little bit fuzzier around a lot of the memory stuff. You know, it's my neurological symptoms. So maybe the detox is causing my neurological symptoms to flare, or maybe something else I'm being exposed to. I'm not sure. Okay, so the other day, we're out in the park. They don't spray in this RV park. Like, the people who own the park do not have their staff spray at all. However, the neighbor next to us, the other morning, after my husband and I were watching the bumblebees, and I had literally just made an Instagram story talking about how beautiful this place was and how they don't spray, and then the ecosystem is natural, so we get all the crane flies and the dragonflies and the lightning bugs and the bumblebees and the frogs and then the birds and everything. And we turn around and we're just kind of like slowly walking, just taking a little leisurely walk after we look at the bumblebees. And my husband says, "Let's go in." All of a sudden, and I was like, "What?" And I look up, and over towards our RV is the neighbor next to us spraying chemicals on the ground around his truck. I'm like, "Oh my God, you have to tell the camp host, the person who's managing the space right now." Did you just see that little fruit fly? Okay. We share our home with fruit flies. How are you not going to? We have so much fruit in here. Anyway, so my husband talked to the camp host and she talked to the neighbor, but the thing is, it's possible that I got an exposure then, and then that is kind of what, because, we had to walk past it sort of to come into the RV, and who knows how many other times he's done that. That's when we saw him, but we're not always out at that time of the morning. Like, I don't know. Has he been doing that the whole time he's been here? Because he's been here a couple weeks at least. Oh my God. People treating this place. This is not your home, dude. This is not your house. You can't treat this like it's your property. That's not okay. What on earth are you doing? That is not okay. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to talk about that very much because the rage will come up in me, and I don't need to get my adrenaline going in the morning. My cat already did that by jumping on my chest to wake me up, as he does sometimes when he's feeling hungry and he feels like I should be awake by now. And fair on him, because I usually am awake when the sun comes up, and the sun had long been up, so he had just had enough of me sleeping. But when he did jump on my chest like that, it woke me up out of a full sleep. I was in the middle of a dream even. I was dreaming about this incredible art exhibit that was just freaking beautiful. And we were in like this 3D art piece. This guy had built this room and it was all art. It was a really good dream, actually. It was a really neat art all over the place. Oh my gosh. And the artist was talking to us about his vision and how he created it, and showing us little secret pockets in this room that like pulled more art out of. It was just, okay, anyway, it was just a really neat dream now that I remember it. And Pendleton woke me up from it, rude. That's all right. He wanted me to make a video. Here I am. Okay. And I talked before about the itchy. I've been having that itchy rash on my face, on my chin. Today it's actually getting a little better so far, knock on wood. I don't know. I haven't been up long enough to really assess that properly, but a couple other ongoing symptoms that have been happening for a while. Now, my plantar fasciitis started to sort of fade out, and then it comes back again. Again, it's in and out and in and out, and it doesn't ever really bother me too much, but I have noticed, well, this ties into another symptom, which is this has been ongoing for probably 5 years, 4 years. I've had this particular symptom, and it's edema in my ankles and feet. It is affected by humidity. It is affected by temperature. The warmer it is, the bigger my ankles get. So they do swell up, and one of them, particularly my right one, will swell up. It can swell up to the size of a grapefruit. Usually it's about an orange. My wrists are a little bit swollen. I think I do have like edema all over my body. I think my wrists are a little bit swollen because usually I can touch my pinky and my pinky doesn't touch now. So that's probably a little extra because my wrists actually look like sort of a more normal size than they used to look. They used to be a little small. Like these past 5 years, my ankles have just been, and it was really affected by barometric pressure, temperature, and humidity. So being here in the Midwest, ever since we've been in the Midwest, they've just been in a constant state of swelling. Now, eating raw, occasionally they will go all the way down, and I'm shocked, and I've even taken pictures because I'm like, oh my gosh, the swelling is gone, the swelling is gone, almost all the way down. Like it's significantly reduced, and in the left one it will go all the way down. But the right one, I don't know. It's the same foot with the plantar fasciitis. I definitely think it's tied in. I know it's tied in because I know it's viral. It has to do with the viral activity and the pathogens in my body and the heavy metals. So to relieve the pressure from the edema and actually to help the swelling go down in my feet, I elevate my feet. That often will help the pressure go down and the swelling go down. So, when I sleep at night and my feet are up in the bed, elevated, the edema pressure goes down, and by morning, my feet aren't swollen. It's just that throughout the day, in this hot heat and this high humidity, they swell again. But when I put my feet up and elevate them to relieve the edema, it makes the plantar fasciitis act up. So that starts to hurt a little more. And it doesn't hurt enough to bother me. I can still walk on it. It's not a big deal. It's more of just a little bit of an irritant. It's just like, oh, this. I'm definitely looking forward to that just all finally being gone. Yeah, and it's possible, so the Mercury retrograde's going on, and it's possible that these sleep disruptions and weird things are part of that, and it's also possible that it's just this heat, it's just been very, very hot outside and very, very humid, like so humid. Because sometimes it'll just rain in the morning. I think yesterday it rained in the early morning, like before the sun came up, and then it just made it so incredibly humid all day. It was like a sauna outside. So those are sort of symptoms that have come up this week that have been kind of ongoing, and I felt like maybe I should talk about them. It's kind of been a while since I've talked about stuff that I do have going on. I don't really like to highlight what's going on, but it also is part of my healing journey, so I want to talk about it. And food, I've been sporadic with my food. It's been all raw, it's been all fat-free, it's been all salt-free, and I just haven't been making enough of it, that's all. I have some really delicious things that I make that are really good, and I don't know, I'm just kind of at this little lull right now where I feel just kind of bored with everything. Like the last couple of times I've made spinach soup, I think it's maybe the batch of garlic I have is kind of off or something, but it just hasn't tasted right. So I could only eat like half of it, and so I haven't really been wanting to make the spinach soup. So what I have been doing consistently, of course, every day, my mornings are easy because it's the same thing every day and I don't have to think about it. I've been doing my lemon water every morning, 32 ounces, and a half hour later I will do 32 ounces of celery juice, and I sip that. I do the sip and swish like Medical Medium talks about in the celery juice book, and then half hour after the celery juice I will do 32 ounces of blended watermelon, and sometimes I'll have that watermelon with lime and mint, and sometimes I'll just have it plain because the watermelon's so good that I only want to taste that. Right now my husband bought me a big seeded watermelon, which is not something we have been able to find, and so I've just been savoring that. I blend up the seeds with it too. And a little while after that, I will have my heavy metal detox smoothie, which is also 32 ounces. And then I get into sometimes solid food. Sometimes I'll have spinach soup after that, and then sometimes I'll make some kind of a salad. Lately, I made up a recipe that I call raw poke, and then I've been eating a lot of the spinach soup, and then just lots of smoothies. I've been making lots of smoothies with just spinach and pineapple and banana or whatever fruit I've got. Oh, and then what I do, I've been trying to juice the watermelon rind. So I'll take the watermelon rind and juice it. I add the juice of a lemon or a lime, some honey, and a bunch of frozen strawberries. and I'll blend that up and have it. It's like a version of, it's the medical medium strawberry lemonade with ginger, and sometimes I do have it with ginger and sometimes I have it without. I keep having to clear my throat an inordinate amount. So a little bit symptoms flaring. Yeah, so that's been my week. So how's your week been? What's been going on with you guys? Tell me in the comments below what has been happening with you in your healing journey, or if you have any questions, or if you have suggestions for videos you would like to see me make. I will always add them to my notebook and do my best to make them if I can, if it's within reason. Thank you so much for coming along with me on my healing journey, and thank you so much for watching. Obviously, if you like this video, please give a thumbs up below. You can subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button over there, or you can ding the bell next to it if you want to be notified when I post new videos. I got a couple videos in the works coming up. One with the story about how I didn't die when I got stung by a bee after being diagnosed with anaphylaxis to bees. And I have one about a little something that's been on my mind for a while. So, as always, my healers and health seekers, I wish you so many blessings on your continued healing journey. I love you so much. Stay curious, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.